live video here in West Hollywood. That's right, I'm in a park, kind of isolated. It's kind of nice. They got the dog run over here, pretty relaxing. I woke up at 2 a.m. this morning and I went back to sleep, you know what I mean? I rolled over, went back to sleep. Shut up. It's important to me. It's important I set the tone of the show. Don't you know? Here I sit once again, and I like talking about accelerationalism. This is kind of what they're pushing a little bit, is this new accelerationalism. I'm sure there's probably a different name for it. I'm probably messing it up. Because I do my show unscripted, but I want to state for the record what my wife had, and I'm going to stop calling her my wife, but what she was using was a second cell phone. They can use this as a second cell phone. It is a directed energy weapon. That's exactly what it is. She scrambled my brain, but the problem is they can record you, and it makes it look like you're barking at the moon. They used this tech on a film called Abacus Fell that I was an extra on. The director actually called me out because I was using the Gestalt method of acting, and it was almost like it was buffoonery, it was mime, and they call it the Gestalt method, and it's where you utilize the entirety of your body, all of your concentration in your character. Now, my character had a mask on, but when I see the film, I'll be able to point it out to you guys. When I have a produced show, I could do much, much more than this. I'll state for the record, I thought I was having an aneurysm. My dad had a stroke. I just assumed that I was having a stroke, and it makes you act unnaturally. And that's what they used on the Central Park Karen. Now, this is imperative, guys. You need to know this information. I'm very sorry that you're stuck listening to these oafs and doofuses, but you need to come to my show. You need to share my show, and you need to share this information. I'm giving you on-the-ground information that corroborates much of what they were calling conspiracy theory. It is not a theory. It is a fact. Take a look at some of the people like RFK Jr., okay? These people knew that there were malfeasance. They know that these people are corporatists, and he goes back to when they're actually really politicians, somewhat, a little bit more than today, concerned with the American people. And it just seems to me that most of these puppets and these muppets, sorry about the trademark infringement, are only, it's really dangerous right now, and here's why. They're only aping their side of the aisle. There's no consensus, which is why I like Gavin Newsom. That's an M. Sorry. I was trying to talk fast the last episode. Talking to Sean Hannity, because Sean Hannity sits there and runs his mouth nonstop. Well, have the guy come on and actually talk to him. That's why it's important that people tell the truth. Unlike my wife, I watched my wife's mother die, but she didn't die with a lie on her lips. Jean Marie Tandler will die with a lie on her lips, stewing in her own turds the same way her mother did, because we all die like that. And I didn't deserve to be treated like an animal. I actually have a book. It's called Two-Legged Animal. But nobody's reading my books. Nobody's doing anything. My stuff is buried. I keep going. I used to say we, but it's like, did you see? He has a schizo. I lived like a true embedded journalist, not like some sissy playing it safe in the fucking green zone and making up Thompson. That's why he became so prolific. Because he started putting himself in the story, which was known as gonzo journalism, and he realized that all these feckless phonies didn't really do anything. They went out there for a few minutes and they went back to their hotel room, and he's like, oh, really? I could do that and get away with it? Okay, it's on. And so he started writing these fantastic tales that were way more interesting than these lousy assignments that he was on. Sorry, I gotta take off my shoes. In case you don't know, I always take my shoes off before I eat, but I am eating on the EBT menu only. Like I said, I'm a true method actor. I'm a true embedded journalist, not like these phonies in their little safe space, making up stories. And there's someone else I want to yell at. I don't know. But again, I want to state for the record. Now, I was on the 7 train in New York City. with Slopey, and I'm going home, and when the police come on the 7 train, like we had service on the 7 train because it was elevated. When the cops come on the 7 train, all your devices stop, boom, and you can see people stop, being phonies, right? I call you. That's what we're calling phonies now, because of what's his name? Holden Caulfield. Is that his name? Calden Holefield or Holden Caulfield, from Catcher in the Rye. That's why they used that book, because it was very, very shocking. And the fact is, the guy who assassinated Lenin and the guy who assassinated, tried to assassinate Reagan, both have ties to a religious retreat, a Christian retreat in Beirut. Okay, they were basically, what they were telling everybody was that they were MK Ultra'd. Okay, another person who was MK Ultra'd is Whitey Bulger, and I always take the mick out of the mob stuff. You know me, I take the mick out of the mob. And sometimes I go a little crazy. Trying to get the right look today. Boy, looking fancy. All right. Sorry. And see, I gotta hold it out like this, and then it's like you kind of get the picture. Yeah. All right. So I take the mick out of the mob stuff, and I have another mob thing for you guys as well. I talk very fast. I do my show. It's like free form. Okay. It's free association. It's the same. It's so early that I can't remember. My mind's not working. And it was my wife abusing this weapon. I believe she got this weapon. I'm obsessed. I believe she got this weapon from her brother, her lummox brother, and she was using it willy-nilly. And like I said, it caused me to go in and get a CAT scan, and that's pretty brutal. So I do my show. I riff my show. I talk about current events. These accelerationalists are pushing us into a technocratic future. Okay? And books like Brave New World and 1984, these are playbooks. These are manuals, okay? And they're showing you, it goes all the way back to H.G. Wells, actually. They're showing you what the future is like, because most of these people, mostly without exception, that includes Jack Kerouac, they go back to the peerage. And the only reason I bring Jack Kerouac up is because everyone thinks he's just a beat poet, but don't forget, he started introducing notions like Buddhism into this culture, and I'm using that in my last bastion of hope to kind of bring people together, because I remember a punk rock scene where it didn't matter how somebody voted. What mattered was the music, the storytelling, and these stories are timeless because they're based on mythology. And why does mythology work and these religious tales work? In the Holy King James, sorry, I was raised a Christian. I don't know much about many other religions. It's because they speak to every person, okay? They speak to what was known as the everyman, all right? I'm obsessed. I am the everyman. I just saw an every person walk by. When I in the 90s, when I went to UNLV, I knew somebody, an LGBT person, totally cool person named Keen. I always loved this person. I wish them nothing but the best, but they started taking hormones and they got a sex change. And this was in the 90s. And so you can see 20 years after that, these hormones are amazing, right? Why do you think there's an uptick in Alex Jones watching tranny porn and all that? If you haven't watched the tranny bang abroad, I mean, I'm sorry, man. You got to see it for yourself. These hormones are top notch. And what these accelerationalists want to do is they're using tech in the medical industry. So this is what they're going to do with AI and the surgeries. Okay, they're already talking about it. Who I subscribe to are these think tanks like the Brookings Institute and things like this. And this is who I listen to. And you're not going to get a politician to ever truly deconstruct anything. I can do it. And I do it. And I do it on this show. And I do it for you. And I do it in the hopes that we can talk about it. Right? Everybody's running to be on one side of the aisle or the other. I'm finding the middle way. And it's a very dangerous way to be, because one of the people who was finding the middle way was Bob Marley. I always give you new information about my background, which is Lumbee, Native American from North Carolina. Make no mistake about it. Malcolm Gladwell is in my mother's haplogroup. Okay? Malcolm Gladwell was just on Theo Vaughn's show. You should see Theo Vaughn. He's sitting behind a desk now. He's got a new set. Oh my God. They're all down in Austin now. And Malcolm Gladwell's in my mother's haplogroup. He mentioned yesterday that he is from the West Indies. Okay, so this is another clue to my background, okay, as well. Who knows? You know, you have to get into the weeds. You have to get into the minutia to see. But you can clearly see that we are the other, right? We're not the brother. We're the other. And that I find all this stuff fascinating. And that, like I was saying with mythology and religions, you know that racism is fake. Okay? I bring it up every single show. Most people hook up with people who look like them, right? 80% of the people. They're showing you in Disneyland, which I'm not putting down, what these technocrats are showing you is the exception and not the rule. Why? Because they're so uncool that it took them this long to understand that people are multiculti. When I moved to New York in 1992, and I'm glad that I did for the only one reason, and it wasn't for meeting my wife. That's for sure. I regret every second I spent with this person because she tortured me non-stop. They were torturing me at, I bring it up every show, at Atelier 4, and they used this tech on me on the, on the set of Abacus Fell, and they used it again when I worked for Bonsai Fine Art Transport. And it was down underneath the 3rd Avenue Bridge, and everyone's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. You were just out there yelling. You have to be careful. They create this stuff. These are the Karen creators, and I told you about it. Take a look at my episodes. You can go way back when my car was actually working before it was sabotaged. You can go way back, and you can see that, yeah, man, I was talking about this tech, and I know how it was used, but I always keep my mouth shut. I'm not a whistleblower, but I did live like a true method actor, because that's what I was about. And you could see people like the Safdie brothers and people like that really appreciate this kind of stuff now. When I came up with Barbe Schroeder, and I worked on something called Kiss of Death, and I actually worked, I don't remember the other guy's name. There were quite a few actors on there, but I was only in a scene with Nicolas Cage. You can't ever cage the cage. You can't cage the cage, okay? And I can't remember what the other guy's name is. But Barbe Schroeder was working on that, and I knew Barbe Schroeder from Barfly, okay? And you had like Mickey Rourke doing this method actor type of thing, okay? And this was always really fascinating to me. Well, I think Barbe Schroeder also worked with Bridget Fonda. Now, take a look at Bridget Fonda. I'm a huge fan. I mean, what happens when your 80-year-old aunt is smoking hot? And take a look at Bridget Fonda, and I'm not putting her down. I love Danny Elfman. I love people. But that's why, what's his name came up with Hollywood Babylon. Okay, we know that Kenneth Anger. I'm also a Kenneth Anger fan, and so is Martin Scorsese. So take a look at Bridget Fonda, and you tell me that she's completely sober with no pills. She's not taking any pills. Go look it up. Bridget Fonda. Tell me she's not taking pills. Tell me she's not taking pills. Tell me she's completely sober. I'll give you $1,000. I always say it. I say it every time. If you want to put me on a lie detector, you can put me on a lie detector. I'll pass it every single time. Why? Because, like I said, this little rumor mill. Shut up. I can't show you. This little rumor mill of calling me Zoolander. Yeah, you fucked up, man. I think you fucked up. And now anyone can take a joke. I can laugh along with anybody. But it went a little bit too far. And then I started getting targeted. And then I started getting targeted by people in the FBI or someplace in that area. I don't know if they're stadies, but you got to look at how many intelligence operations, outfits there are. And that's Tony Spilotro. When he went out to Vegas and started the Hole in the Wall gang, he brought a former police officer, a former Chicago police officer. And now everybody knows that Sam Giancana was CIA. And everybody knows that, who's the guy, they made all these movies about him. They call him El Duce, Pablo Escobar was CIA. Now I'm here to tell you, this is a holdover from the Bush family dynasty. Like I said, the two guys who committed the murders, the Jodie Foster's army, right? Putting down Holden Caulfield's book, and that's why it was so troubling to people like me. And I'm just a kid. I'm going to high school and I'm seeing this stuff, and we were generally afraid. You understand? And it was pretty wild times, and it's pretty wild now seeing RFK come out and challenge the status quo. I think it's very important. They're talking about this stuff right here on YouTube. I think the pendulum is swinging back, and that's why I'm here. And I'm not going to go away, and I'm not going to let people who go around New York painting cash for smells bully me, and I'm not going to let you run suicide ops on me. Oh, yeah. I talk about it every single show, guys. It was brutal, and I thought I was going to die. And these people were laughing about it, and those people are as follows. Solly Jakunis, Royal Oak, Michigan. Jean Marie Tandler of God knows where. Jim Hicks, Wisconsin. What's her name? O'Brien. Erin O'Brien, Wisconsin. They all knew they were using this tech, and some of their spouses knew as well. And that's what I said. That's what I said. I live like a true embedded reporter. And what I did is I laid low and I kept my mouth shut. And before I knew it, just like Webb, not Chick Webb, right? Just like Gary Webb, you realize that the drug dealers are right here. They're in our own government, okay? Check anybody's domestic pouch if you're a politician. You have what's known as diplomatic immunity. And I think, who's one of the guys they caught with cocaine? He had a shipping company that he happened to own, had cocaine on it. Well, what's that? Plausible deniability. Like I said, if you put out the wrong video, you're going to go get a coffee, and they're going to say, sorry, your credit card doesn't work. It's happened to me already. It's called running game. Sorry. Sorry, I don't mean to yell. I'm going to talk about my project a little bit. Thank you very much for watching. I got more hits on my live video last time. I doubt I'll get as many hits this time, but that's okay. I keep going, like I said. What did I say? Can you rewind that, please? I swear to God, I'm going to be more fun next time. It's really tough. $6 a day. I want my coffee. You could see how I am once I have my coffee. I don't have any money for coffee. I am living like this, and I'm not even asking you for any money. Okay? I'm nothing but honest. I was nothing but honest with my wife, and that was brutal, man. And it really hurts. All these years later, it still hurts. Now I have stuff on my record that wasn't supposed to be there. Now, I don't care about the stuff in St. Clair Shores because they set me up. And I took the bait to see how my family would take it. And they glommed onto the side of the police department. Why? Because they have a natural appeal to authority. That's what my mother had. She works for the police department, but she's a crossing guard. She doesn't know how the outside world works. Neither do any of my sisters. And that's why a lot of times they will recruit people like my sisters who graduated top of their class. Okay? Because it doesn't matter if your IQ is. Anyone can be limited hangout. Anyone can be sheep dipped. Anyone can be, anyone can be duped. You understand? Anyone can fall for a 3-card Monty. Any of us can. And then you learn, you're like, oh shit, man, I'm not going to fall for that anymore, right? It's just like, right? Live and learn, money burn, right? Cheers to that. Drinking some H2O plus whatever's in here. Take a look at the film Chinatown. You'll see that they're talking about the exact same things here. They want you to buy water, right? And they clean water that we shit in and have us drink. But they tell us desalinizing the ocean would cost too much money. Guys, I'm here to work. I'm here to make a living, okay? And I'm here to write Linoleum Blown Apart. What Linoleum Blown Apart is, it's about reincarnation. But again, this kid might end up in the 27 Club, or he might end up in a in a mental institution, just like Sid Barrett. Don't forget, we're capturing the essence of all these people. We cannot get sued by anybody's estate because we are capturing the essence of these people. Take a look at the extortion that went down for John Lennon and George Harrison. Look at poor George Harrison at the end of his life. They set him up MK Ultra style. Had some crazy guy come in the house with a knife. You understand? Like, this is bullshit. And that's why I worry about it, because they could set me up. And all they do is come around me throwing their weight around like the gentleman, and I'm using that term very loosely, like his asshole, who accosted me on Pico. This guy's a police officer, and this is what they do. This guy was coming at me, was running at me like a simp, just a moron. Now, my guard's up, and I'm ready to throw down. So that is what I'm trying to tell you, is street level ops. But unfortunately, what they have are directed energy weapons, and they have them on cell phones. They'll cut your power, and they can make it look like you're a criminal, and they can record you. And Central Park Karen. These aren't Karens. And they're trying to accelerate it and make it look as though we're living in some crazy land. And that's why they did it right at the same time that they decriminalized grand larceny. But that, grand larceny is over 1,000. Do you see what I mean? So they didn't. You see how this is working? And it's only in liberal states. It's in blue states. Why? Because they're going to crack down using tech, using track and trace. You understand? So go get your Gucci shoes while you can, pal, because they're going to torture you until the day you die. And they're going to torture you through your device. Don't forget, they got us hooked on social media. Did you take your social meds today? Did you check in with your social meds? Oh yeah, they were coming at me through the Facebook app. Make no mistake about it. I talk about it every day. Okay. So I like the form and talk about my real life. I make discoveries for you every day. I discovered these accelerationalists, and I discovered, like even Wilhelm Reich. It started with the unedible complex, where they took Freud to task, where they said if somebody has a mental issue, just, let them get involved in the right side of their brain. Let them get involved in painting and music. Right? But now we're in the era of the better living through chemistry, right? And I really want to get this project going. I'm not going to be afraid to talk about the things that I talk about, because I was multi-culti and I had friends who were LGBT 40 years ago. Okay, so this is insane to me. And the people who turned on me should really be ashamed of themselves. You can lampoon me all you want, but it got into really serious, dangerous situation when they ran ops on me down in Florida. And like I said, you better find God before God finds you. I'm not a Christian, but I'm smart enough to use my discernment and know that there's more out there. I'm not an academic atheist either, because I'm not going to accept a model handed to us pre-packaged by a bunch of sophists. And these pseudo-intellectuals think they want to run everything, and it went into this technocratic future, and they are accelerating it. There is no doubt. So again, I'm trying these live videos, and I want to thank you very much. Tomorrow, it looks like it might be a coffee day for me. I'll be able to afford a coffee. I can't afford it every day. I like doing my show when I can drink a coffee. It was really tough, you know. Just be careful what you put online or what you say, because when you go into these businesses, they will deny you service. That's what they do. But the game is rigged when they can mess with you psychically and they can turn your brain to mush. And the key to this is my ex-wife. And it's really, really shameful. Why would you ever live with somebody if you're just going to treat them like an animal? Well, the fact was, at the end of our relationship, she was calling me butler. That's what she thought of me. That's how little she thought of me. And I thought she was just joking, and I thought that I had a medical issue. And it's pretty disgraceful, and that's what they use. Be careful. Police know about this, but they got the blue wall of bullshit. And they're not telling anybody. That's why I just thought it was on a federal level. I didn't know, but they all have it, because I remembered that's what we're using here, guys. We're using cognitive stuff is coming to light, okay? And that was the point of Sigmund Freud and what they were doing, okay? You can talk this out. You can use this talk therapy, and you can figure things out. And what we're doing is we're tapping into my unconscious. We are surfing the Eggyverse, because many of us already are neurolinked. Sorry, all I see is glare off my forehead. Right? We already are neurolinked. If they could use this directed energy weapon willy-nilly, and they can come through your actual device as well, through the Facebook app. Don't forget, people, I had a couple of pieces of trash. They see that you're new. Well, the fact is, running game is nationwide. And that's why they think the Woods and the Bloods run the country. You do not. This country is a country of immigrants. People come from everywhere. And you don't target individuals. And this is just wrong. If somebody fucking makes a mistake, then that's on them. That's not up to you to be their fucking judge and jury. Unless you're willing to go all the way. Oh yeah, I'm heated, man. I want coffee, man. Yeah, I'm miserable. What do you want? I'm just a single miserable old man. That's okay. That's fine. I keep going. All right, so it's about at the half an hour mark. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to talk about my project right now. And again, I have strong opinions about stuff, and that shouldn't cause me, oh, sorry, we're going to defund you because he's on the other side of the political aisle. You're getting insane. And this stuff is being accelerated through your device. Okay? Now, I would love to see, I don't know who's on the right. Just say Gavin McGinnis. Okay? Now, then take somebody on the left like Sonny from The View. Sorry, but there's a guy who, he basically shoots fish in a barrel, metaphorically, obviously. And he takes the mick out of what Sonny says nonstop. The show's getting rather boring. And this partisan stuff is kind of stupid. But now, let's take what their AI is feeding them, not what they're posting. Do you see the difference? Not what they're posting, what the AI is feeding them, right? What's feeding Gavin McGinnis? What's feeding Sunny from The View? I don't even fucking know her name. Or whoever, who's on the left. Let's take a look at what they're, what's feeding them. And you will see that it's all confirmation bias bullshit. And a lot of these photographs aren't even real. And a lot of these stories aren't even actual stories. Like I said about Hunter S. Thompson. And we have levels and we have stepping stones. And we can use him to see this AI media deep blue fakery that's been perpetrated on us for years. It's a little something called yellow journalism. Okay, so it still exists today. Like I said, I was victimized, past tense. I don't really know another word I can describe for it, except the person who wrote the article has got an ass kicking coming from me. We can put that on video if you like, James Kenneth Graham. But again, they don't roll like that. They think they roll with the set, and it's just rather sad. Like I said, I went to a ball game with two guys who I thought were my friends. They set the ball game to LARP me. These were people that I thought were my friends, and it was all a setup. Just like my former girlfriend's mother, Marcia, comes with a police officer to LARP me about dope. They LARP me about queer shit. Like, they think this is funny, and like, I was a proponent of LGBT years ago. We never cared about it. And this is what I'm talking about. And people like me need to speak the fuck up instead of just joining whatever team they think that they're on. They're all just a bunch of phonies, and I call them out every single time. I told you, take a look at the Joey Boot Boy video that I made on Fallen Angelenos. That was a LARP. It was a lie. Two people I know were in on it. They stole money from cancer kids, and they think it's funny. They let the reason they call other people Boot Boy is because they probably came from the Marines, and they're in the good old boys club, and they're not going to arrest these guys. This guy stole money from cancer kids, and people that I knew were involved in it. Okay? And they showed up with the media, and they're like, oh my God. You know, people like Jimmy Doom called his mommy, and they showed up. These people are liars, and they're LARPers, and it's not true journalism. Trust me. They don't even know what it is. They forgot the definition because they've changed it so many times in my lifetime. That's right, I'm Grievance GorDie. Ah! I got a bone to pick with myself. Yeah, I tell you to go fuck yourself, but your cock's too small to reach your own asshole. And I don't give a shit about being monetized. I could care less. And I don't care how many people watch my show. Because I've got every right to work on my projects and have my own personal opinion about things. And you shouldn't be targeted because of it. This is wrong, and everybody knows it. But the fact is, these little children from the corn, they've been oppressed. They're working their asses off for minimum wage bullshit. They want the new Gucci shoes, but they can't afford them. They're saving up. They know they can't get them. They're being teased with a carrot in front of their face. They're being oppressed by their parent. You know, when you're that age, like I said, I got into punk rock and I was very nihilistic. Okay? But by 1992, I realized that people like Sue Summers were so full of shit with their stupid record label that they weren't going to put it out. And then 20 years later, I find out that Disconnected Records, who likes to put the dead body of Ron Beauty on the cover and laugh about it, while the guys on the record label show up in the Metro Times with guns, right? But if a rap guy did it, if an African-American rap guy did it, some guy would be getting his gold shield on his ass. But because it's controlled by Jimmy Doom and sissies like that, they don't do anything. And I've had it with people like that, and fuck you. These people are unconscionable. They ran suicide ops on me. They expected me to die. Well, you gotta kill me, motherfucker. Oh yeah, I'm heated, bro. I didn't get no coffee, man. You can see there's no kids around the other side. See, there's nobody around. All the kids are way down there. Oh, the Mexican moms or the Mexican maids. Oh, it's so fun, like watching them. You know, it brings peace to my life. You can see how heated I get. I'm a very passionate person, but I'm not passionate about politics. I'm not passionate. You know what? When I'm around people, I keep my mouth shut. I go Delta, man. That's what I do. And it's just, you know, it's kind of natural. I'm not a butler, But I do like to clean things, especially my wife's smelly ass that I've cleaned numerous times. But I guess that wasn't good enough. Guys, this tech is dangerous. It can not only get you incarcerated, it can kill you. And it's suicide ops that they're running, man. And the police all have this tech. Absolutely. I'm going to double, triple down on that. So, God bless Gary Webb. It's poison, and it's okay if you can just keep it at arm's length, the way I'll keep every person in my life, including everyone I know. Whoever wants to hook up, eh? You know, like I said, in Detroit, they got a fist downtown, and some phony puts a big can of Crisco in front of it. Oh my God, it's so funny. Actually, it was funny. Pop art. Ugh. But instead of having a statue of handsome Joe Louis, they want his Justice Fist. Do you see the idiocy here? Do you see this moronic? The guy's such a, he's a pugilist in a beautiful pugilist stance, wanting to box, just like my story, Pork Chops at the Hoosgow. It's very funny. It's going to be a great film made by Walter. And then Walter hooks up with Jeremy Cloud. That's right. Guys, if I do a show tomorrow, I have to get all that stuff off my chest because I think of things, right? We're tapping into my subconscious. And they called me Zoolander for so many years, they just assumed that I was dumb. And this spread, and it kept going and going and going. And it emboldened pieces of trash from my hometown where I was born, and I was ready to die there. Boy, I tell you, I get heated. And then I got some phony with the same name as me. Don't worry, Gordon Keith Ison. Yeah, your sister was showing her tits to me through the Facebook app, calling me on the phone. Why don't you tell her husband about that, pal? Fucking telling me. This is how dumb Gordon Ison is. My name's Gordon Douglas Ison, and don't you ever forget it. And some of you motherfuckers, I'll have to knock it out of your mouth. Make no mistake about it. Ooh, I'm gonna take it easy. This is how dumb this guy was, okay? So he comes to Queens, New York. There's a guy in my building with a bottom rocker. And Gordon Keith Ison's telling me that he didn't like the guy, that he was going to show him a thing or two about a thing or two. That's how dumb this motherfucker was. That's how dumb. Hey, thanks. Tell your sister I said thanks for showing me her tits. Anyways, so this is, everything I tell you is real. Everything I tell you is true and real. And don't forget, they're still using this antiquated lie detector, okay? What is a polygraph? It just means across the paper, to mark across a piece of paper. It's the same thing as an e-meter. It shows when the electricity in your body is getting jolted. It shows when you're lying, when you're nervous, when you're searching for an answer that might not be true. Something that possibly scares you. And now look at that. That came out, you might as well say they developed that in the 19th century, guys. The polygraph, that's right. Just like on Vanity Fair. Take a look at Vanity Fair's YouTube channel. I'm YouTube exclusive, that's right. I don't have a bone to pick with YouTube. I don't care. But I want my stuff to come up through Operation Hummingbird, right? I want the right stuff to come up. Just because I had a fling with Bing that one time, take it easy, fellas. Yeah. Right? I'm not going to another platform. I'm not going to kick. I'm going to stay right here and kick some ass. Yeah! We have every right to have our belief system and not to be shunned from society. What was it? Fahrenheit 451? That you're going to have the film professors have to go out and live in the woods somewhere? Right? This is the future? Just because you don't think the same way as other people? Let me tell you something. If you went to the same church or the same mosque or the same synagogue, whatever you want, whatever your proclivity is, and you took a picture when the man at the top of the altar or the woman, whatever, the human, right, at the top of the altar mentions something to them, you're going to have a different picture in everybody's mind. Okay? So we don't all picture the same thing. We don't all believe the same thing. This is important. This groupthink is bringing us down. We are a country of individuals. We are a country of immigrants here. And again, when you are shown things through, it's a reification fallacy, okay? That's what it is. It's a confirmation bias. And it's confirming these things. And it's only sending you things based on your clicky, clicky, swipey, swipey, scrolly, scrolly, likey, likey. Okay, we're 40 minutes in, guys. I'd like to get to my show, talk about my project, and I will do tomorrow, that's for sure. Make no mistake about it. Always stick it here. Ooh, with the green. And, you know, I don't care if you like, share, subscribe, but please just tell somebody else about the show. I'd like to grow the show. I think the only new person who's subscribed to my show is a police officer. Sorry there, Chief. But thank you very much. I always show you how I'm living. This is how I'm living. And I'm not afraid to do this. And we'll see what happens in the future. I know you guys are going to see this project. I know you're going to like this project. It's a lot of fun. And I promise tomorrow I'll talk about it. So thank you very much for watching my show. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know.